New CBS News polling finds registered voters have a more positive view of the economy now compared to just last month. The poll also reveals that Vice President Harris has narrowed her deficit with Donald Trump among those who call the economy a major factor in their vote. She is doing better. So let's bring in our political panel to discuss this. Molly Ball and Brakkton Booker. Molly is a senior political correspondent at the Wall Street Journal, and Brakkton is a national political correspondent with Politico. So great to see both of you. And Brakkton, I will start with you and that poll. You know, the Biden campaign and then now the Harris campaign, they struggled for months and months to try to convince the American public that they would be better stewards on the economy, no matter what they did, labeling it Bidenomics, highlighting inflation coming down. It never seemed to make any difference. And now suddenly we've got this poll that shows that perhaps she is making headway. Is that because gas prices are coming down or interest rates are coming down? What's going on, you think?
Look, I think it's a combination of those things, but I will echo what somebody told me during CBC week, in that Democrats had the good policies. They just had the wrong messenger when Biden was atop the ticket. Now you have a much more articulate, much more nimble messenger, and I think that is helping some Americans change their views about how the economy is going. But what you also see is that those who don't view their personal economic fortunes as being any better, those folks are still very firmly against Biden and what Harris is trying to sell right now, and they are firmly breaking for Trump. So she still has some room to grow in that regard, and try to sell her economic message and what she will do if she were to get to the White House to help them.
That might be why she's going back to Pittsburgh this week to unveil what she says are more economic proposals. Molly, you just went to Ohio and did a deep dive into the Senate race there. And one of the things that our poll looked at was this allegation that Trump and his running mate, J.D. Vance, have been making over and over again about Haitian migrants in Ohio eating cats and dogs. And guess what? The poll found that nearly 2/3 of voters think that that is not true. They think it is baloney, and certainly it has been debunked. So based on your reporting there, why do you think that Trump and Vance keep repeating this, even though it doesn't appear to be getting any traction with the voters they might need to win?
Well, what Senator Vance has said is that the point of highlighting this falsehood is to call attention to the immigration issue and to call attention specifically to the effect that these migrants have had on the small town of Springfield, Ohio. I was mostly on the eastern side of the state, about 3 hours east of Springfield. But certainly anywhere you go in Ohio, you can see that immigration is a top concern for the voters there. And so I'm actually very encouraged that so many people believe the media and not the politicians when we have told them, because there's so many other things that we try to convince people are not true, that they persist in believing for whatever motivated reason. But the immigration issue is clearly on the top of people's minds, particularly more conservative-leaning voters, particularly the Republican challenger to Ohio Senator Sherrod Brown, the Democrat, who I think is in the fight of his political life. This is the hardest re-election he's ever faced, and part of the reason is he's up against he's a sort of progressive populist. He's up against a right-wing populist, and it's a sort of competition between different forms of populism. And the Republican Bernie Moreno is echoing Trump, saying, if you're really on the side of working people, if you really want to make Ohioans' lives better, that starts with shutting down illegal immigration. That starts with deporting migrants who aren't supposed to be here, shutting the border, and they claim that that is what would make life better for people in Ohio. And the town of Springfield, where the governor and many others have said the economy of the town has benefited from these legal migrants coming in to take jobs that nobody else wanted to take or was available to take. For many other people in the town, it has been a story about changes that are not within their control and their community changing in ways that they weren't asked about. So it's really a microcosm for the issues in the Senate race and in the presidential race.
That's really fascinating. Go ahead.
Yeah, one point I'd like to add on that, too, is that Bernie Moreno is someone who was born in Bogota, Colombia, who came to the country when he was 5 and became a citizen when he was 18. So he has an immigrant story to tell. And in telling that, he's like, I did it the right way. You look at me, I am part of the American dream. And therefore, all these other folks who are here and came here illegally did not do it the right way. So therefore, vote for me because I believe in Trump's immigration policy, right?
Although the Haitian migrants they've been talking about also came here legally.
Illegally, yes.
So I want to ask you both about Mark Robinson, the Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina, and this controversy that is now engulfing his campaign regarding things that he reportedly said on a porn site 10 years ago, talking about being a black Nazi, what have you. He's refusing to step down today. The Republican Governors Association said they're basically cutting him off. They're not going to pay for any more ads. You've got Republicans from the state basically saying they think he's going to lose. And yet we have seen in North Carolina before that you can have one party win in the governor's race and another party win for president. So how are the campaigns feeling about this situation right now?
Well, look, we've seen the reports that Republicans are quietly, or not, maybe not so quietly, asking Mark Robinson to go away, to step off the campaign, to help save not just Trump's chances in the state, but also try to save Republican supermajority in the state legislature. But, you know, Mark Robinson didn't get to this point by being a wallflower, right? He is going to be defiant. He's going to lean into that defiance and lean into that Trump streak that folks have compared him to, right? And you're not going to see him back away, even if you see most of the Republican Party leave him alone. What you're going to see, hopefully, is you know, some Republicans come to their senses and maybe coalesce around Mark Robinson and say, like, hey, come on, this is going to be a drag on the party. But right now, I don't think he's going to heed to that advice.
Molly, I want to play for you a soundbite that we just got from a J.D. Vance rally in Charlotte, North Carolina today. Dan Bishop, the congressman there, was talking about Mark Robinson. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
Last week in North Carolina, Democrats and allied media rolled out a meticulously timed and coordinated character assassination and immediately sent mailings, ads, broadcasts, and posts smearing all Republicans by association while claiming the high ground.
So they're trying to spin this as, you know, character assassination by the media and, you know, opposing campaigns. Obviously, none of what has been reported by CNN and other outlets has been debunked as of yet.
And the problem for Republicans is that even before this new reporting, there was plenty of stuff out there about Mark Robinson. And in fact, what I find so interesting about the ad that the Harris campaign released tying Trump to Mark Robinson is it didn't use any of that new material. Right. It was using his posts about abortion primarily, which were already in the public domain, which were already known about even before he won this Republican primary. Republicans knew when they nominated him that he was someone with a long history of inflammatory and offensive comments. And even knowing that, they made him their gubernatorial nominee. He was behind in this race long before this new CNN report with, you know, shocking new material, new to the public, not new in terms of time. But again, he was already behind in this race, and it was because of an abundant paper trail of comments similar to the outrageous ones that were newly reported. So all of this is a problem that Republicans knew about and decided to nominate him anyway. And the Harris campaign believes that is a big part of why they hope that this will resonate, is because it is, to them, that's similar to Trump, right? This is someone who was known to have this offensive history that the party chose to embrace anyway. So in tying him to Trump, they're not just saying, here's someone who supported and endorsed this guy. They're saying, look at these sort of birds of a feather.
And what makes this so pivotal very quickly, Brakkton, is that this is a battleground state. Trump won last time around, and it's hard for him to chart a path to 270 this time around if he doesn't win North Carolina.
That's right, and you see that the Harris campaign is really making a play for North Carolina this time, investing money, investing time. She's made a lot of announcements there, including her economic package a couple of months ago. So North Carolina definitely is in play, and it's also because of Mark Robinson.
Yet another twist and turn in this race. Brakkton Booker, Molly Ball, thank you both so much.